Hi everybody, my name is Willie, and this is my story. Grew up on the south side of San Jose, and I'm Monterey and Rotor, and I was into gangs. I was a graffiti artist, and I was into hip hop music. So growing up, I had both of my parents. You could say I was the black sheep of the family. I grew up in a family of 6 kids, 4 boys, 2 girls. I was the third one born, kind of in the middle. But everybody kind of did their own thing in my family, you know. My brother with my little brothers, and I was always by myself. I turned to music as an outlet when I was young. I started going to the studio at around 12. With the music came the graffiti. If you know about hip hop culture, the graffiti and hip hop was like right there, right next to each other. And in the midst of all that, I was also into the gang life. I'm not gonna blame nobody, because at that time I liked what I saw. It was a lot of violence, a lot of judging, a lot of just hatred, a lot of hatred towards people that are just like me. So anyways, I remember, I'm gonna tell you guys a little story. I remember one time, I was in the underground and I was tagging. I was by myself. I did a lot of drugs growing up, a lot of weed. I didn't drink. I didn't like to drink, but I smoked a lot of weed and I did a lot of cocaine. And I remember being in the underground by myself. I just finished doing a bomb under there, and I was leaving, and I seen some, at that time they were I called them my enemy. I seen some enemies as I was leaving the tunnel. They were coming into the tunnel, and it was 3 of them, and I got physically jumped that day. I got a scar right here to prove it. And they really took a number on me. But this is how broken I was. I got up with not even fear, you know, of the repercussions of what I was doing. Called up the gang, right? And we went out and well, we found these guys again, and we retaliated. And you know, it's looking back now, it's like, why would I even do that? Why would I even put myself in some situation like that? And I did some bad things, and that I regret, and it just makes me feel bad now, of what I did. Growing up in the studio was my outlet to everything: the gang life, the graffiti life, my life at home. I felt always rejected, right? And whenever I was with the gang, they made me feel like a family, right? Whenever I was with my graffiti, you know, they made me feel like a family, because at home I didn't, I'm not gonna say they didn't love me. I didn't feel it, you know. My emotions and my feelings was like, I wanted to be loved more. And that's why I turned to all these things. And I think now in my walk with Jesus Christ, I'm finally realizing that these obstacles are what made me who I am today. God made me walk like that so I could be able to talk to you guys and share my testimony with you guys. Because some people don't have their mom and dads, and I took that for granted, you know. I had both of my mom and dad, but I chose to be in the streets. I chose to walk with this world, you know. And when I met my Lord and Savior, everything changed so dramatically, not only physically but everything inside of me. Like, my heart feels better, my mind, there's not noise in there no more, because I gave it all to God. To me, I want to get back into my music, because I was idolizing a lot of drugs and gangs and guns, and I idolized all that. And I was always in the studio since I was 12. I've been going to the studio, you know. I know how to work with Pro Tools, like everything, right? Like, I know how to make my own beats, like I know how to record myself, I know how to do everything in the studio. And so you kind of get a picture of how long I've been in there. Just recently, about a year ago, I stopped going to the studio. This was before I started going to church. I got a disease on my gums, and it's called periodontitis disease, and I started losing my teeth. So the reason why I stopped going to the studio is because I was embarrassed. I didn't want to be around people that knew me, right? I was embarrassed of my flesh, you know. And this is how good God is, because he was working in me before I even knew it. So that year that I did not go to the studio, there was the cops were watching the studio. So around the same time I stopped going because of I felt embarrassed and all that stuff, was around the same time that the cops started watching the studio. So fast forward a year, the cops has been watching the studio, right? I haven't been going to the studio. The studio gets raided. All my friends got arrested and they all went to jail. So I got incarcerated when I was 20 years old. I got locked up for a 211 212.5. For you guys that don't know, that's the penal code for strong armed robbery in the second degree. So that's committing a robbery with a deadly or gun in physical form. So I used to steal a lot of cars. I used to rob a lot of cars when I was younger, and it caught up to me. So I ended up getting locked up. I was facing 12 years. Since my file was very, very thin, I spent a year on the 4th floor of San Jose County Jail, which is it's a level 4, where I had 47 hours in my cell and 1 hour out every other day. So for 24 hours I was in the cell, and then the next day they let me out for 1 hour. That was to shower, to make a phone call, to walk around the little pod I was in. Anyways, I ended up getting out after a year because they gave me a plea deal. It was basically I did 1 year of county time and they gave me 2 strikes. So I took it because I would have been out that day, because I took my case to trial. So in pre-trial, That's the plea deal that they gave me. So, okay. I said, okay. So, I didn't see that as a blessing at that time. I just thought I got lucky, right? I 3 months later, from me being out, I was still doing drugs, and this was the last time I seen my brother Benny. I had a choice that day. I had a choice to go to where my brother Benny was at. They were playing poker that night, or I could have went to the hotel, and I had 3 girls that were gonna go to the hotel with me, and I picked the girls over my brother. So that decision ultimately cost me my freedom for 4 years. So I went to a motel in Morgan Hill. As soon as we go into the hotel, the cops lit up the lights. I had a gun on me, and I was on probation. So they found the gun, and because I was the only one in that car, they didn't find it on my person, but since I was the only one in that car on probation, they took me in, and they gave me the charge. So the judge gave me the mid. So whenever you go to court, though, you have 3 different options that the judge could give you. It's either going to be the low term, the mid term, or the high term. The high term was 12 years. The mid term was 4, and the low term was 6 months. So I ended up getting the mid term, which ultimately sent me to prison. So as I was fighting that, I was on the 4th floor. So again, a whole year. I was 47-hour lockdown. When I was in that cell, I didn't have nobody to talk to. I didn't have I didn't have friends in there. I didn't have nothing. Like, the only person I called on that phone was my mom or my dad, you know. By the way, I never asked them for nothing. I never asked them for money, for food. I never asked them, because when I got locked up, I knew that it was my fault. Like, I knew that it was what my actions. What my action day was this reaction, which was I was in there, right? And so I had to deal with it, you know, and I dealt with it, and I did my time. But when I was locked up for those 47 hours every other day, and I built a lot of walls in my mind. I blocked a lot of things out. God wasn't even in my mind. Like, I shut a lot of things out. I talked to myself. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but when I came out, I didn't know how to express my feelings to people. I didn't know how to let things out. I didn't know how to let things in, right? I was lost. I was a lost puppy. And I just think now I just thank God that I found my Ohana, and that I found my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because without him, I don't know where I'll be. I know what he's doing in my life, and it just feels so good to know that somebody got my back. And I know that his blood is enough. And when I wake up in the morning, I just thank him for where I'm at today, and that I survived, and I surrender. So I just want to thank everybody at Captivate for seeing something in me that I didn't see in myself. And, you know, thank you to my fiance for constantly motivating me. Thank you to my sister Felicia for instilling the God in me. And to all my family here at Captivate, like, you guys are wonderful, and I love you guys. All my pastors, I just want to say thank you, because right now, where I'm at, Still got ways to go, but I'm at peace. And yeah, that's my story.